Hi and welcome everybody. This is Mark Tierman from Google. Welcome to our second Learn with Google iteration. We're going to do a couple of those over the next couple of months, so we're looking forward to welcoming you on those as well. My name is Mark. I work for Google in the Publisher Solutions team in New York City, and I am here today to chat with you guys about Google's mobile solutions. The agenda for today's call is we're going to do a quick mobile intro, then we're going to talk about the platforms, then we're going to talk specifically about the new DFP, which is our primary ad server, and then we're going to talk about our non-guarantee sales solutions for inventory monetizations. There's a way for you guys to submit questions via the interface. If you do so, we do get them here on the side. If we have time at the end of the call, we'll get to those questions, and we're looking forward to making this interactive. If there's questions that were not answered, please feel free to get in touch with us, and we're looking forward to working with you guys. Mobile is one of many devices, and over the last couple of quarters, we have seen mobile impressions grow exponentially, which is very exciting. And at Google, we really view mobile not as a standalone value proposition, but rather as an integral whole of our monetization solutions. Different screens really have different contexts, and this slide sort of shows that consumers value all of their screens. Sometimes they watch television, sometimes they use their mobile phone, and they use different devices during different times of the day. Clearly, most people use their desktop computer when they're at work, but in the evenings and on weekends, the mobile phone often becomes the primary screen. That is in particular important for retailers because over the last couple of quarters, we've seen that retail sales are getting heavily influenced by mobile. Mobile might not always be the last in the discussion, but it's always part of the value chain. Sometimes it starts the interaction with consumers, and sometimes it actually ends the interaction with the sale. This slide shows the activities that are influenced by a smartphone and when the smartphone is at the beginning of that interaction. Clearly, for certain things like browsing the internet, the smartphone might be very valuable, but I'm sure a lot of you have used your smartphone over the last couple of weeks to look at prices while you were in a store, or to do price comparison shopping. So I find it interesting in this slide in particular that sometimes the phone is the beginning of an interaction, and that's important to consider as you're building out your experience. It's especially important because over the next couple of years, mobile impressions are likely to surpass desktop impressions. More than 1 billion people will use mobile devices as their primary internet point over the next couple of quarters. That's exciting, and it's exciting especially because the demand is catching up. Mobile demand is still a little bit behind, but we think that in 2013, the U.S. mobile advertising spend is likely to exceed $4 billion. That trails behind what's happening on the desktop and what's happening on the internet. But if you look at this graph, you will see that the time spent on mobile device far exceeds percentage-wise the spend that currently goes into it. This is not necessarily concerning. Very often, advertising dollars trail eyeballs by about 2 to 3 years. So we do see this happening in mobile, and there's a lot of room for growth. In addition, mobile in the last couple of years has not been as accountable as their desktop counterparts. Cookies don't always work. Tracking is difficult. Audience targeting is difficult. Many of these hurdles have now been removed, and we're fairly certain that mobile spend is likely to increase significantly over the coming quarters. I want to take the next couple of slides to go into our platform solutions in particular. You will see the DoubleClick brand here. DoubleClick is part of our platforms solutions group. So these are solutions that are meant for publishers to monetize their mobile impressions. So these are not end consumer products. In terms of monetization, Google is able to help publishers with the entire value chain of monetization. We do have solutions that help you with your direct sold campaigns, which are often called premium campaigns, which means these are campaigns that were sold by your direct sales team. We have also solutions that help you with direct network deals. So if you are talking to mobile ad networks other than AdMob or AdSense, our solutions will help you manage these network relationships. We are starting to increase our automatic network optimization solutions. And last but not least, we do run an open auction that will help you auction off your inventory to the highest bidder. Let's go a little bit more detail into each of these solutions. At the beginning of the value chain for many publishers stands the DoubleClick for Publishers, or DFP in short, which is the primary ad server. The primary ad server is meant to allocate traffic to specific campaigns that your publisher's sales team sold to advertisers. From there, you can take unsold impressions and allocate them into the DoubleClick Ad Exchange, third-party ad networks, Google Ad Networks, or DSPs and trading desks. DSPs is a new word for ad networks. These are ad networks that have built a bidder that allows them to participate in an advertising exchange. Advertising exchanges are different than yield optimization exchanges in that we run a simultaneous auction in which bidders are able to raise their hand with a specific price in mind. The highest bidder wins the auction and gets to execute the ad. In order for buyers to participate in these exchanges, they need to have built what's called a bidder. So DSPs and trading desks fall in that category. Google takes mobile fairly seriously, and it's becoming a very important part of our business. There's about a $2.5 billion yearly run rate from mobile ads at Google. We have over 300,000 mobile apps in our AdMob network, and we have roughly 1,000 engineers working on Google Display Solutions. So you'll see that we have not only the scale, but also the expertise to run a fairly substantial mobile monetization solution platform. In particular, our total revenue management solution contains various elements, all of which can be used individually or can be used as a single platform. We have the DFP suite, or the DoubleClick Ad Server suite, which is for direct sales solutions. We have the Ad Exchange for RTV and yield management. We have video ad serving, which is called DFP Video. Then we have specific mobile add-ons for DFP, which often are referred to as DFP Mobile. Those work in particular for mobile websites and for mobile applications. And then we have the Google Ad Network, which is called AdSense. And last but not least, we have an analytics tool, which is called Google Analytics, which also works both for mobile web as well as for mobile applications. It's important to note that with the exception of DFP Video, all of these solutions are contained in a single SDK. So if you are an application developer and you're looking to take advantage of these solutions, a single SDK will be able to call all of these solutions. Let's talk in more detail about what DFP really is. For many of you, DFP and DoubleClick is a very familiar name. The company has been around as a leader in desktop ad serving for many years. And we acknowledge that for many years, DoubleClick for mobile was probably not a large focus of the company. Over the last couple of quarters, we have fully revamped the platform, and DFP Mobile is now ready for prime time. Mobile ideas are really shaping computing. Responsive design, app stores, HTML5, Retina displays, are all designs that are shaping not only your handheld devices, but are really starting to shape your computing experience in general. So it's fair to assume that over the next 2 to 3 years, your primary computing platform will likely look more like your handset looks right now versus your desktop at home. The Google platform is in particularly well suited to take advantage of this trend because DFP is ready for a multi-device strategy. For many publishers, desktop is becoming one of the platforms that they would like to address. But DFP will be able to do both. You can do video, you can do mobile, and you can do desktop, all from within a single platform. So these are not separate products. This is a single product that can do all of it. More and more of our publishing partners are saying that they actually would like to unify desktop and mobile, both with flexible ad units, but also with responsive design. Responsive design being the technology to display a single site on various devices and the site automatically resizing to the appropriate size for each of the hardware that it's showing on. So as it relates to ad units, this is important because our new DFP tags are able to automatically resize depending on the hardware that they're shown on. So responsive design is becoming a big part of our platform. DFP, both for desktop as well as for mobile, has various elements that our desktop publishers have enjoyed for many years, and we're now bringing them to mobile. So while there's many mobile ad servers out there, DFP really takes the enterprise approach, and it is a full-fledged ad server that has forecasting, trafficking, reporting, and targeting. For example, in your reporting, you can see insights into the traffic, and you can forecast what type of traffic you will have maybe next quarter or next month. So DFP analyzes the traffic that you have. It analyzes the traffic that you have by time of day and by day of week. So if your sales team sells a campaign to a large advertiser and the campaign is under-delivering, DFP is smart enough to speed up the delivery or slow down the delivery based on time of day or weekday. In addition, you can target based on manufacturer, carrier, platform, geo, or by any custom parameter. So if you have a specific parameter that you would like to feed your primary ad server, DFP will be able to target on it. Finally, trafficking has become fairly easy. We have easy visualization tools that allow you to traffic based on time of day, weekday, or geo. And you can see in these screenshots that these tools are fairly easy to manipulate. So even if you've never worked with an ad server before, it will be fairly easy to traffic campaigns in DFP. This is actually the forecasting slide. So you will see in here that DFP will alert you if one of your campaigns is falling behind, because it looks at how your traffic is performing and it says, hey, I've just noticed that there was a traffic drop-off over the weekend. Let me speed up this campaign to ensure that it gets fully delivered. Personally, I come from the third-party demand source to Google, so I'm particularly excited that DFP is ready to connect to any sort of third-party demand. We make it fairly easy to simply put a JavaScript tag into DFP, so if you're working with a particular ad network partner that is maybe too small to have a direct integration, you can quickly put a JavaScript tag into DFP and allocate traffic to that network. For some of the largest ad networks in the country, we have created server-side APIs, so that very easy from DFP, you have a drop-down menu with some of the largest demand sources, and you can quickly send traffic to them through a server-side API. For applications, DFP actually now contains a small snippet that's called SDK mediation, which is the ability to talk to networks that require you to have an SDK. Many of the mobile networks in the United States at the moment require you to have a software development kit installed in your application if you want to talk to them. So that means that you could find yourself in a scenario where you have 3 SDKs in your application and you do need a way to control all of them. A little bit like Lord of the Rings, this SDK mediation can be the one to control them all. So you can use DFP to talk to multiple SDKs that reside within your app. And then last but not least, you can of course call the double-click ad exchange directly from DFP. It has a very exciting interaction with DFP that's called dynamic allocation, which I'll go into a little bit more detail. While you have the ability from DFP to talk to any third-party demand source, we have created a special interaction between DFP and our ad exchange. This special interaction is called dynamic allocation. The way that it works is that DFP runs a secondary auction. So here's how it would flow. An impression would hit your application, and you would send an ad request to DFP. DFP has multiple campaigns in the ad server. In this particular example, there's 5 different tags in DFP at different prices. In the background, DFP would call the ad exchange and ask the ad exchange, hey, if I were to send an ad to you right now, what kind of price would you have for me? AdX then responds to DFP and says, hey, for this particular type of impression that you're sending me, maybe it's an Android impression in New York from a likely male user, I would pay $1.25 CPM. DFP can then compare that price to all the direct tags that are contained within DFP, and it can make the decision, should I open it up to the open auction or should I keep it within DFP and the primary sold campaigns that are in here. So what it does is directly booked tags compete with non-guaranteed bidders, which means that for all intents and purposes, DFP knows the market price for each impression. It's fairly exciting technology. It is very complex and a little bit hard to explain. So if there's particular questions on this, please submit them into the tool and we can get into more detail. In addition to DFP, of course, we have non-guaranteed sales solutions, often called also remnant solutions, which means that any campaigns that your sales team didn't sell directly that you would not want to deliver through DFP, Google has the ability to bring demand to you. We've been talking to advertisers since the beginning of the company, and we have a lot of advertisers that are interacting with Google. You have access to all these advertisers. And the way that you have access to them is through various products. We have a product that is specifically geared towards app developers called AdMob, which is a company that brings advertising demand into applications. We have the Google AdSense network, which is specifically geared to website, both desktop as well as mobile. So if you have a mobile website that you would like to monetize, Google AdSense is a great way to do that. If you're a larger company and you would actually like to run an auction, you can do that too. So AdX Mobile is a very transparent connection to all of the Google demand as well as to all the other demand that is out there. What makes AdX different is that one connection into AdX gives you access into most of the major buying sources that currently exist in the mobile space. So this graphic sort of tries to illustrate how that would work. DFP sends traffic into AdX, and then AdX exposes it into all of the Google demand, Google AdSense and AdMob, all of the other large ad networks that are out there, including iAds, InMovie, JumpTab, Millennial, and any other network that you would like to add via a tag. And it also can run a real-time bidding auction, and I've just included a few logos here to illustrate the point. There's currently over 90 buyers that buy programmatically on the DoubleClick Ad Exchange, so it really is a fairly large source of demand. For those of you that are not that familiar with real-time bidding yet, a quick note on why that's exciting. In the olden days, if you wanted to send an impression to multiple ad networks, the only way to do that was in a sequence of events often called a daisy chain. So you would ask one ad network after another to see if they had demand for you. A daisy chain is fairly inefficient for multiple reasons. Number one, it is slow, and you usually only have time to ask about 3.5 ad networks before you run out of time. Number two, a daisy chain is based on historic data. The way a daisy chain works is that you estimate the best price for a particular impression, and that estimated price creates an allocation into each of the networks. Real-time bidding is very different. Real-time bidding is the simultaneous call to as many buyers as are participating in the exchange. So in this particular graphic here, it's illustrated by a pipe. So think of Ad Exchange as a pipe that has hundreds and millions of impressions per second in it, and we have multiple bidders that listen to all these impressions, and they decide when they would like to bid. In this particular graphic, there's only one brain on it. In reality, there's hundreds of different brains that are listening to these impressions and then raising their hand with a specific price in mind. Why is that exciting for a publisher? It's exciting for a publisher because for the first time, you actually get full control and transparency and scale. In an ad network daisy chain environment, you never know which ad you're going to get. So it's a little bit like asking somebody to marry you and you've never met them. And God forbid they say yes, and you're stuck with somebody that you don't like. In an RTB environment, this is very different. In an RTB environment, we can tell you the individual advertiser for each impression. So every time you send an impression to us, it gets auctioned off, and in your AdX report, you will see the individual advertiser that bought that impression. Why is that important? That's important because you can block specific advertisers. So if you are working with a particularly large advertiser through your direct sales team, you can easily block them from AdX, or you can set a specific floor price with which they can participate in buying your traffic. All of these controls and transparencies are available in a very easy to understand and real-time dashboard. So you can log into your dashboard and you see who's currently buying your traffic, how much are they valuing your traffic, and how much are they paying for an individual impression. It's important to note for those of you that might be using AdX on the desktop that it is really the same product, and we've just opened it up to mobile. So all of the controls that your ad operations team is used to from desktop are fully available in mobile. So you have access to network and RTB demand, you can use the same ad units, and you have now additional ad units, 320 by 50 and 300 by 250, that you can easily access from AdX. So here are two resources that might be interesting for you guys to check out, just as a takeaway. Number one is we've created a mobile playbook, which is really meant for executives to understand the tablet and mobile phenomena, and it's especially geared towards being viewed on a tablet device. So I would highly encourage to go to the mobileplaybook.com on a tablet and sort of play around with it. You'll see what's possible with good mobile design. We've had a lot of interactions with advertisers and publishers over the last couple of months, and we've found that if a mobile website is not mobile optimized, consumers and advertisers alike are not very excited about it. 67% of consumers are more likely to buy a product or use a service on a mobile-optimized site. And even worse, 79% will turn to a competitor site after a bad mobile experience. So I cannot stress enough how critically important it is that you build mobile-optimized websites that really take advantage of the medium, take advantage of swipe experiences, take advantage of rich media, and take advantage of the way that users interact with their mobile or handheld devices. We've built a tool that's called How to Go Mobile, and you can actually use it to see how your site would appear on a mobile device, but it also contains tips and tricks of how to build a mobile optimized site, and it even has some vendors in it that could help you do it. So I'd encourage you to check it out. It's an interesting website that we spent some time creating. So that brings us to the end of the presentation. I'm going to take a quick look and see if we had any questions, and if we did, we'll jump into some of those. So we did have a couple of questions on dynamic allocation, and I'd encourage you to reach out to Google and we can talk about it in more detail in person. But dynamic allocation is the ability for the primary ad server to get the market price. That's really the easiest way to say it. Any of your direct campaigns that you allow and allocate can compete with an open auction, which means that if you have one campaign from Coca-Cola at $1.50 and another campaign from Ford Motor Company at $2, the primary ad server would reach out to AdX. If AdX comes back with an advertisement at $1, it would not deliver. If AdX would come back with an advertisement at $3, it would take the AdX advertisement over the two campaigns if they're not under-delivering. So DFP is smart enough to look at the delivery of those campaigns, and it would not kick out a campaign, of course, if it needs to deliver. But if it has room for the flexibility, and you have allocated these campaigns to be in dynamic allocation, it could pick the primary. It could pick the AdX campaign over the primary sold campaigns. So with that, I would like to thank you for taking the time to listen today. Please do reach out to us. We would love to interact with you. And I hope I've given a little bit of an overview of what we do at Google. We're fairly excited about mobile. Personally, I'm very excited about mobile. I've been in it for about 11 years. So I'm thrilled to see the industry evolve to where it is today. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.